Welcome back to Accent Your Beauty with Dr. Mark Berkowitz. I'm Jackie Kallen, your co-host, and tonight we have Silvia back. You've met her before. She's the injectionist with the best hands in the business. She does the best job I've ever seen with Botox and all the other injectables. And tonight we're going to talk about injectables.
We are, because there's so much misinformation out there. So we're going to talk about many of the different fillers that are out there that are FDA approved, where Silvia and I use them, where we find that they work their best, and just go one by one through them.
That's important because there's so many different fillers on the market. And a lot of them's the same basic product, but with just different names, correct?
Correct.
And you have to know which part of the face you're putting which filler in, because certain ones are better for lips, not so good under the eyes. Some are better for the cheeks to, raise your cheekbones, but you might not use that in the nasolabial folds.
That's correct.
So we're going to hear all about what's the best product to use and where to use it.
So I thought we'd start with one that's not a filler first, because people think that it is, and it's the best known of all of them, and that's Botox. So Botox does not fill. So people get confused and say, oh, I want Botox in this line, and it's really a purified protein that stops muscles from squeezing. And so the whole idea of using that is to give more of a refreshed look, and it can be used in combination with some of the fillers that are out there as well. And Silvia and I, we use Botox. The other one we use is Xeomin, but there's also another one, Dysport, as well. And I kind of think of them as Coke, Diet Coke, and Pepsi. They're brand names.
Similar.
They're very similar.
And they all do the same thing as Botox. They kind of freeze that area, freeze that muscle so that you don't get the squint lines, that 11 in the middle, and then all those sideways lines that we hate.
Right, they soften all the lines, and then they're really good at preventing lines from forming, since the muscle can't contract the way it normally would without the products.
And that's important. And so we get younger and younger clients coming in who are looking at mom and dad, and they're saying, I just won't want to develop those lines. And so, we'll take a look and see if they're a candidate, and if they are, it's somebody that we can inject, and we can help them to prevent some of the changes from aging.
And I know, speaking to both of you, you're honest enough to tell somebody when they've had enough filler, because some people overdo it. They get addicted and they want more and more and more filler till they look like their face is a big mask with no lines and no definition. And part of the character in a face are the subtle lines. So you don't want to erase everything.
Yeah, it's all about making contours and shadows that are attractive. And in our celebrity segment later, I believe it's today's segment, we'll show you somebody where somebody at some point should have played bartender and said, you've had too much.
Right. Isn't that the new rule, though, is less is more?
A bit more conservative, yes, but still give them that refreshed, rejuvenated
Right, so it looks
look.
more natural.
Correct. Restoring what has been lost.
So Botox is what I call the gateway drug. Gets you into the office, you can see how we can give a more youthful look, turn back time, and it's something that on average will work for around 3 to 4 months' time. You get the best out of it if you're consistent with it, and that again is around every 3 to 4 months. It starts to work at around 3 to 7 days after the injection, works its best at 30 days and starts to decrease from there. But I find with my clients that somewhere after the 3rd or 4th injection, we get the nicest results, and then we can continue on with those results as long as they're consistent.
Well, I can personally say that Silvia has injected me with Botox. And it was easy, painless, and within 2-3 days, I noticed a complete difference in a decrease in the lines on the side here and the 11 mark there. It was very painless, and I'm thrilled with the results, and I plan to keep it up, of course.
Yeah, it's a very quick treatment, but like Dr. Berkowitz said, it's really important to maintain it. It'll help keep those lines under control. So every 3 to 4 months.
And sometimes people come to us at a time where the lines are a bit deeper. And so Botox can be used alone, but it can be used in conjunction with some of the fillers that are there. So the fillers can be used to decrease lines, but more and more, Silvia and I, when we take a look at the face, we're not looking specifically at a line, but the overall again, contours and changes as far as colors are concerned as well, and shadowing. And we try to sculpture and mold the face so that it's not only decreasing lines, but just making it overall more attractive. And so this is our palette, what you see here. And not everyone gets every one of the fillers, but these are the different ones we can choose from.
Now, I've seen ads for what they call Botox in a bottle. What is that, and does it really work?
So there's a few different products that are out there. Botox in a bottle. There's, I think, a Botox hair straightening that's out there now too. And basically, it's interesting that Allergan has not gone after these companies for infringement because they're not Botox at all. So
Is that a trade name, Botox?
Botox is their trademark name, and I think they also have cosmetic Botox as well, and or Botox Cosmetic is a trade name for them too. And you know, it's become like tissue and Kleenex.
Exactly. That's the, you think of any kind of a muscle freezer and you think,
Botox. Yes.
Is Botox botulism, a small amount of botulism?
So it's actually botulism that becomes a purified protein. So there's no chance of anyone catching botulism from the injection.
I'm glad you
can't
clarified
contract
that, because
Yeah.
some people don't understand that. They hear botulism. I'm not putting that in my face. So it's good that you clarified that.
So I thought maybe we would take a look at a video of Silvia injecting before we talk about some of the different fillers.
Great, let's do it.
So that video shows Silvia injecting Botox. You can see how comfortable the gentleman was during that procedure itself. And so, again, probably the most common of the cosmetic procedures that Silvia and I are asked about is Botox.
So that's your number one seller. That's the go-to flagship of all the
I would say
procedures.
so. Yes, I would say so.
Yeah, and from there, I would say for Silvia, probably her second is fillers as far as lips are concerned,
Yes.
and lip fillers.
That's
And
become so popular.
It sure has.
And
Yeah.
you know, I've noticed that as people get older, their lips thin out.
Yes.
Is that a natural part of aging?
It is a natural part of aging. It's also a good point to bring up, and it'll help us distinguish between the fillers that we're using for the lips, because there are a few different ones you can use, and it all depends on what you're trying to achieve, whether it's just adding volume or restoring volume for someone a little older. So it all depends on the patient. So thankfully there are different options for us to use.
yeah, so the fillers that are most popular are in a class called hyaluronic acids, and hyaluronic acid is actually found within your body naturally. And so the number one product for the lip is one called Juvederm. And Juvederm's a nice soft filler, but what's nice about it is it likes water. And because it likes water, it creates more of a luscious lip. So it's perfect as an injectable for the lips. It has a sister called Volbella. And the difference between the two is the ingredients are about the same, but it's what's called cross-linking becomes a bit different. And it's how it basically can smooth within the lips itself. Or
Do you
the other.
use them both together sometimes, or you use one or the other?
You could use them both together if if you're treating, say, for instance, the Volbella, the thinner of the two, you can use to treat very fine lines around the lips. And if someone also wants, in conjunction with that, some fullness to the lip, then you can put Juvederm into the actual body of the lip.
And again, do you make the determination as the bartender to say enough's enough, you're looking like a duck? Or
Absolutely. And even some patients will come in wanting a full lip, and you're not going to do all of it at the same time. You know that maybe you'll need more than one syringe of the product, but you wouldn't necessarily do it all at the same time. You space it out so that things still look smooth and still look natural, still look even.
Yeah, I mean, we will build up for people, so no one comes in and gets 3 syringes in their lips right away. For most
Well, it
people,
swells up when you first do it.
It swells up,
anyway,
so we like
so you have to take time.
right? So we like it to go down, but our names are on your face afterwards, and so it's important to us to give a beautiful aesthetic view. Now, there are some people that, even though we look at the contours and there's a perfect ratio of 1 to 1.6, that's in one race, maybe not the same in another, but yet some people may like it, their lip is 1 to 1, or they may like the lower lip better. And so we'll work with somebody. So if somebody wants a little bit more, it may not be our taste, but as long as it's tasteful,
That's
we'll
very
work with
important.
them.
Yeah.
Tasteful.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I've seen your work, and I've seen your work, and everybody that I've seen that's come out of your office looked very beautiful, very natural, looked better than when they went in, but did not look overdone. And I think that's the key to picking the right doctor and the right person to inject you, is that they have that eye for what's too much and what's not enough, and they find that balance, and you leave there really happy.
Correct, and the provider or the injector to have the ability to choose from different fillers. So we do have a variety to know what to place where. So that makes a really big difference.
Well, you mentioned Juvederm as obviously one of the more popular ones that you use. Let's talk about Juvederm. Where are the many places on the face that you would use Juvederm exclusively?
So Juvederm we would use in several different areas. So number one, we can blend any of these fillers, meaning we can take the filler and make it softer if we'd like. So there are areas we can place it, like the temples. We can place it into the glabellar folds. We can place it into the cheeks, although its cousin Voluma is a better choice for that area.
Now, are they cousins from the same family? I mean, are they related?
They are related. Yeah, there are, and so Volbella, Voluma, Volor, and Juvederm are all made by the company Allergan that makes Botox as well.
Okay.
And so they each kind of have their specific areas, but they can sometimes be blended to look like each other. So Silvia and I know some tricks to make a syringe work in one area versus another without going to its cousin. So that's a possibility as well.
Now, where do you learn to do that? I'm just curious. Is there a rep that comes out and teaches you how to use their product, or do you just know that as a doctor?
So that's interesting. So no board has anything in regard to fillers, meaning there's no testing on fillers right now for doctors.
A little scary.
So basically it's training through one doctor to another. And so I work for the company Suniva and will train other doctors. Silvia and I have both attended other courses by doctors and share our secrets, and they share theirs with us as well. But for me, it's been 23 years of ongoing training, and then I work directly with Silvia. But part of Silvia's training is she's gone out not just to learn from myself, but from other doctors as well, and nurses.
And nurses, yeah. It's a community of educators and of providers, and just getting together at different conferences and seminars for whether it's a new product or the same product. Even if it is the same product, we'll go attend a seminar for the same product multiple times, because they could be different educators or just different attendees, and you learn different things from people every time you go. Absolutely, yeah.
And different ways that people have applied it in different areas that you might not have thought of.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at another video with
Okay.
Silvia injecting someone's lips. Now, Silvia is fast, but
I was good. You read my mind. I was saying that was sped up, wasn't it?
that was sped up
Okay.
to show you overall. But even in the speed, you can see the lady having it done was very comfortable, and no freezing was placed beforehand. There's actually freezing built into the fillers as well, so that things will feel numb afterwards. But that is showing you one technique of injecting the lips that Silvia performed as well.
Well, I think the important thing about injecting lips is what we touched on before. It isn't always just to have bigger, fuller lips. A lot of times, older people, it shows your age when, it seems like men, their ears get bigger.
Ears and noses.
And noses get bigger. And so they're getting kind of older because things are growing on them. And with women, they get those thinner lips with all the lines. So it does give a more youthful look, even if you're not doing a full facelift or a resurfacing, just to replenish the lushness of the lips does take off years, don't you think?
Absolutely. It gives them a more rejuvenated look. It a lot of women, as they get older, not only do they develop the fine lines, but their lips tends to go inwards. And so by using a filler that's going to be subtle but also restore volume, it helps kind of plump it just a bit more outwards and give you a more youthful look.
Well, I think that's an important thing to say. So it isn't just for the young girls that want the big lips that you see on TV, but also as an age reduction.
Yeah, and with age, one of the measurements that we note for sure that changes on women is the distance between the nose and the red of the lip. And so other areas, they may lose volume, but that space elongates over time. So if we can give the illusion of shortening it, it creates a youthful look as well.
Well, that's great. It makes me think about going home and measuring the space between my nose and my lip. We'll be right back and tell you about more fillers in 2 minutes.
Advertising your business these days can be challenging. Traditional radio and TV ads are expensive and, frankly, a bit of a crapshoot. Not to mention, the audience for over-the-air material is shrinking as more and more of us demand to see and hear what we want, when we want. Advertising on new radio media is a solution. With our live streaming programs that are also available on demand, your message is always ready when your customers are ready to watch and listen, all for a fraction of what you'd likely have been paying for other ads. NewRadioMedia.com. Call Buzz Van Houten at 248-939-9999 for more information.
Low budget movie version.
60s TV version. Early 2000s high school pseudo-adaptation that eventually grows into the geek we all know and love version here. I'm getting paid a lot of money to be here, so listen up. Watch the Geektainment channel on NewRadioMedia.com. It's geek approved.
It's all about you, and that's the way we like it.
Where you're going,
What you do to stay fit.
what you're eating,
what you're thinking,
and how you're feeling. Join the conversation at NewRadioMedia.com's Lifestyles channel.
Stream the life you want to live.
Doctor, my eyes have seen the years and the slow parade of
We were just talking during the break about how many women come back after they get their lips injected and say, more, give me more. So it does get somewhat addicting because you like the look of it. And you said what percentage come back?
I would say 90 to 95% of the women who come for one syringe will look at it right afterwards, say, it looks great, but maybe it's a little too much for me. And then they're calling like 3 to 5 days later when some of the swelling goes down, I want another syringe.
Yeah,
And
it
they
really
come-
does look very
It
beautiful
happens
to
all
have
the
that
time.
kind of a lip. So what other goodies do you have here, Dr. Berkowitz?
So Juvederm, again, we use in the lips, we can use in the temples, we can use in the cheeks. We can use actually to camouflage in regard to the jowling that people get as well. We can use it into
Now,
the
how does
hand.
it work for jowling?
So when somebody gets a little bit of jowling, we can redefine the jawline by tightening the jawline with the filler too. So Juvederm, I would say, is one of the all-purpose products of.
How does it compare to like Restylane?
So Restylane is another brand, just like Coke and Pepsi.
Okay, so
and
they're
they're
similar
very
fillers.
similar. And
Okay.
then there are some doctors who swear by the Restylane brand and Perlane, and others who stick with Juvederm. They're basically the same product.
Okay.
Yeah. And so Voluma, its cousin or sister, Voluma, Sylvia and I use more for the cheek area. It basically is a product that stands up a bit better instead of smoothing better, so it can hold volume, and so it gives more of a lift. And so Voluma is one that we'll use in the cheeks, but it can be used other areas in the face too, but it's FDA approved for the cheek area.
What do you use mostly for the nasal labial, these folds on the side of the nose? Some people get those really deep. Maybe smokers get them more.
Yeah, so I personally, I like Juvederm in the area. I like Versa. I like Radiesse. It depends. I like Bellafil. It depends what else we're using at the time. So again, we have this as our palette, and depending on what the client's looking for, so we'll talk to them. And number one, we're going to look at, well, what is it that you're hoping for? How long do you want it to last for you? How much downtime do you have? Financially, what are you ready for too? And then we could put together a program for them, and that helps us to determine which product to use. So most of the Juvederm, Velour, Voluma, Volbella products, they last somewhere between 9 months and up to 2 years, depending upon the
Wow.
product and what you're using and your own metabolism as well. Velour, which again is one of the sisters, one of the cousins, that's used more to smoothen areas. So there are ladies and gentlemen who will look and they'll see folds within the cheek area. And so we're not looking really for volume as much as smoothing that area, and that's where Velour comes in. And so it's a great product as far as smoothing is concerned.
What about the marionette lines that some women get that from the corners of your mouth down, there's little grooves? What's the best for that?
I like to, it depends on the severity of it, but Juvederm or Velour as well.
Yeah, so the marionette line is one of the most difficult lines to treat, and the reason why, it comes about not just due to a loss of volume here, but everything above really is the foundation for what happens below. So if somebody's in the mirror and they're lifting up and they notice that this line is disappearing, well, you're getting this line because you've lost volume in the cheeks. So we have to take a look at the whole face. So we may talk to somebody about the marionette area and talk about building their cheeks first.
So when you lift the cheeks, it softens those
It
lines.
softens
at
those
the
lines
same
too.
time. I have a question. When you mentioned that this is kind of a palette, I picture an artist and he's got all his paints on a palette and he dips in a little of this color and a little of that. That would be pretty expensive to open up a syringe of all these different things and put a little of this, a little of that. So you have to kind of decide beforehand which products you're using and how much, correct?
Correct. And Sylvia and I, we're at the point where we can look at somebody and we are adding in our mind which product and where the product is. And then my calculation then comes down to, okay, there are 4 different products. What can I use where there's 2 products? And maybe I can blend one of the products. So I can make Voluma act like Juvederm or make Juvederm act like Velour. And so I'm able to do that. And there's one product that's fairly new on the market called Versa. And Versa is not made by the same company, but it's Versa because it's versatile.
So you can actually use that in all the places that you might use some of the
Yes.
others separately.
And it may not act as much of a lift, let's say, as Voluma, but the client says, you know, I'm looking overall at my face. What can you do just to give me an overall nice softening? And we can do it with one product. And Versa ends up being a little less expensive than some of the other products. And so we can work with Versa and get, you know, the Juvederm Voluma look with that product and just use that product for them.
Now, is it all sold per, what do you call that?
Per syringe.
Per syringe, right. Is that how it's sold?
So we look at it per syringe, but then we are able to put it together in regard to, again, what kind of a change we're trying to make, the time that Silvia and I spend. And so we can put a plan together where it ends up really not as a syringe, but as a procedure.
Okay.
And so if we, especially once we get more than, let's say, 3 syringes, we look at it more as a procedure, and financially the pricing comes down as well.
So you give a package plan basically where you know ahead of time we're going to do a little Botox, we're going to fix these fine lines by your nose, we're going to do a little bit on the marionette, we're going to plump up your cheeks. It's almost like a little blueprint. You give them a prescription of this is what we're going to do, and this is how much of each, and then they know approximately what it's going to cost.
Yeah, I would break it down for them.
Right. And then they can decide, I'd like the whole plan,
Or part of
part
the
of the plan, or I'd like to build up, and then it's truly up to them what they'd like to do. So as far as the fillers are concerned, so the other one that's here is Belotero. Belotero is a great filler, can be used in the lips, but we also like it for the junction between the lower lid where it meets the cheek, or what's called the tear trough, can be used there as well.
There was another one that you said was good for that, one of the Bellas.
We like Volbella.
Yeah.
Volbella is very nice for it as well. And so depending on the amount of filler we need to use, we'll go with one product versus the other as well. And so all of those products are ones that dissolve over time. They're also the kind of product that if somebody's new to it and they're feeling a little nervous, that they can keep comfort in knowing that should they want, they're reversible.
Oh, they are reversible, like a vasectomy. You can reverse.
Easier than a vasectomy.
Okay. How do you reverse? How do you take it back out?
There's a product we inject that dissolves the hyaluronic acid.
Oh, I see. I never knew that.
Yeah.
So if you feel like you're overfilled,
Right.
you can take some of it out. Can you take some of it out without taking all of it out?
You can, but it's not an exact measurement.
Okay, so
So the person just has to know if they come back and they say, you know, I just want a little out, we can attempt, but it's not an exact science.
right.
And
right.
so all of it can disappear, although we're pretty good at, you know, knowing what to
I
place
can't
in people.
imagine too many people come back
No.
and want to take it
It's-
out.
It's very
So
rare.
rare.
It's very rare.
because the
There
whole
isn't.
purpose is you want to fill something. So
Right.
And I can't picture either of you overfilling. So
Right.
I think that's probably a situation that other doctors face, but not you.
We see patients from other clinics who come to us and
Who have been
who have
overfilled.
overfilled.
Yes.
So that
Now, does that work for lips too? If someone comes into it and says,
Yes.
my lips are so huge,
Yes.
you could bring those down
Right,
as
and a lot
well?
of patients, when they, not a lot, but there are patients who do, at the end of the procedure after we do their lips, they do feel like it's really swollen, and I'll call them the next day just to follow up with them, and they're worried that they're even more swollen, which absolutely the next day you're going to be more swollen. That's exactly
Do you
what we
recommend
expect.
icing?
Icing for the first 24 hours, yes. But at my follow-up call, I tell patients just to remain patient, and we always see them back in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. You see them
weeks.
for lips, 2 to 4 weeks.
Right. Plus they get our phone number. They can always call us if they have
So
questions.
at the 2-week mark, the swelling has come down so much that
And then they want more.
Yeah. So they just have to be prepared for that swelling.
Well, I'm sure the ones that are repeat customers already know what to expect.
Right.
It's the first time that they probably freak out and say, "Oh my gosh, it's so
Exactly.
full."
Yeah.
But after that, they know the routine.
Exactly.
So the ones who come back, they may continue on with the same brands, but many decide they want things that last longer. And so one of the products that lasts a bit longer is one called Radiesse. It lasts around 18 months time
That's
plus.
been around quite a bit.
It has been.
It's Radius, I've heard for a long
It's
time.
a very nice filler, especially for the cheeks. It's FDA approved for the hands as well. To
We didn't even
improve
touch
the
on the
we didn't touch
hands,
that.
but the hands are a big part of the aging
Yes, they
process.
are.
They are.
That's more for the older people that,
Yes.
whose hands lose the volume under the skin,
Mm-hmm.
get so thin. You can make a hand look youthful again.
By using products like Radius. And then one of my favorite products is Bellafill. Bellafill is the first product that went to the FDA and said, don't look at us for a year, but look at us for 5 years. And the FDA showed that not only does it last 5 years, but it's actually one of the safest of all the fillers. So it's a terrific filler for somebody that's said, you know what, I've had these others, they're lasting me about a year. I'd like to, build a foundation and then know that I'm not renting it, I'm owning that filler. And that's where Bellafill comes in. And Bellafill is probably like the first one where we looked at it and became more of the process, because the kit has 5 syringes, and so we can use it to build an entire face with a kit or 2.
It's amazing what can be done. I think that everybody's had their fill of fillers, so we're going to take a break and come back and give you some more good advice on how to look younger and your most beautiful self. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Hey, you guys, it's Raphael of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Guess what? The only thing we can get down here in the sewer is Geektainment Weekly on New Radio Media. Turtle Power!
Detroit. It's the home of some of the world's most talented artists. It's where techno and Motown were born. It's a city where you can experience raw, untamed rock and roll. I'm Ben Rose, and I'm inviting you to join me weekday afternoons from 4 to 5 for the Motor City Juke Joint. I'll have interviews with musicians, info on what's going on around town, and a playlist curated by me just for you. It's all right here on NewRadioMedia.com.
Hi, I'm Andy.
And I'm David.
Join us for fun and adventure on our new show, Podquesters, where we fight through imaginary battles and pray to the dice gods for good rolls.
Yes, it's an epic sweeping adventure. We try to fulfill our destinies without driving the Dungeon Master crazy.
I thought that was the point.
Anyways, check us out here on NewRadioMedia.com Fridays, Podquesters.
See you there.
Hi, I'm Art, and we're the crew at Tuffy Walled Lake. We've been in Walled Lake for 20 years, and through our knowledgeable staff and customer satisfaction, we've become quite the cornerstone in our community and to our discerning customers statewide. We know how important your vehicle is to you, and we take pride in our impeccable, affordable service, and we're trying to get you back on the road as quickly and safely as we possibly can. Please stop in and see why everybody comes from all over to get their cars serviced at 784 North Pontiac Trail in Walled Lake.
We're back, and we've got more information for you and another video for you to look. Want to set it up for us?
So the next video, I believe, is Silvia again doing an injection. So let's take a look.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I was right, that was Silvia, but it was myself injecting Silvia.
It was still the two of you, looking great.
So I thought, let's take a look at some before and after pictures. Some will be subtle, some you're going to notice right away the differences, and some we'll just talk through.
Okay.
Let's take a look. And these are all with filler. And so on this young lady, this is just a touch into her lips and the nasolabial fold, and just softening that area for her, as well as a bit in the tear trough as well.
Well, she has really pretty lips to begin with.
Yes.
But you can see the softening in the folds by her nose and certainly,
The tear
fuller
trough,
under
it's
the
really
eye. She's a
great,
young
yeah.
girl though,
Yeah.
so
But again, she looked tired beforehand, and then this helped also help with that look, improve the contours of the lower lid as well. Let's take a look at the next picture. So a lady a little bit older, and here I used filler to build up her cheek area.
that's a
And
big difference there.
and so this is, not a facelift. She's not ready for a facelift. This is just using filler to change some of the contours and shadows and the way light hits off of her face. And it just gives a rejuvenated look for her. She looks more youthful, well rested, and not plastic. I mean,
No, big difference though, especially the softening around the nose again. Those folds make a big difference. I think she looks so much younger and more rested in that second picture.
and again, we're not getting rid of every line that's there, but she can always add on and do more. But it's just to give her fresh look. And this is something that she would last her around a year
That's beautiful.
without any surgery.
Wow.
Next pictures. So again, beforehand, just a bit of a tired look, and just adding a touch of filler to the cheek area to build up her cheeks, a little bit in the fold as far as the nasolabial fold, because you never want that line to completely disappear.
Right.
Because then you have the cheeks going into the lip. It looks like she had a touch in the lip as well. And this is something that might have been 2 syringes, but just making a nice change that doesn't take that long for her.
So much more rested looking.
Next pictures.
Wow.
So again, just with filler, and so filler can be used to also lift the brow. So you can see how her brow is raised with the filler. You can see her cheeks are lifted as well. And it's not a fat face. It's just, the volume that she's lost over time. A touch within the nasolabial fold, a touch within the corner of the mouth as well. And,
Did she do her lower lip?
so this, I am not positive whether she did her lower lip or not. I think that's just her smile at
And
this
it could
point.
be also lip
her
liner.
lip liner, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think her lower lip
Yeah.
had, but I think this was surrounding that area. Next.
Wow.
Yeah, so this,
I love this one.
this
Wow.
is using a longer term filler. This is using Belafil. And
That's one treatment?
so this was more than one kit. So this is 2 kits
Done the same day or spaced out?
spaced out.
That's
spaced
a beautiful
out.
result.
And this, again, you
Wow.
can see the tightening along the jawline. You can see the difference in the cheek area. And again, everybody's,
That looks like a facelift.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful, the difference. Can I ask approximately what the cost was of the amount of fillers you used to get that result?
so the cost for a kit of Belafil runs around $4,000 for a kit. And if you're doing more than one kit, then we bring down the pricing as well. You become part of our Belafil club. And so
That's a good club to be in if
yeah.
you look like
Yeah.
that,
And
right?
the beauty of this is that if this was just done with one of the short-term fillers, she would start from ground zero year after year after year. Here, in a year, we probably don't have to do anything, or maybe 1 syringe. In 5 years, we may have to place 2 or 3 syringes. We don't have to, start all over again. The foundation that I've built is there for her.
Beautiful
And
work.
so if we need to do, more in the future, it's the ability is
That's
there.
the most startling difference so far. I mean, that's night and day. She must be a very happy camper because that's beautiful.
She is happy.
Did she do any resurfacing?
So her skin was resurfaced as well. And you can see, even more around the eyelids, how the skin quality has improved as well.
Unbelievable.
And so that comes about from resurfacing.
Beautiful.
Next picture. So this lovely lady, this is using the Juvederm and Voluma brand, and this is what's called a Y-lift. And what the Y-lift is giving back the volume in one sitting. And so we'll use somewhere between 8 and up to 16 syringes at one time of one of these fillers to give back the overall volume for her. And this will last around 2 to 2.5 years time, and it takes around 45 minutes to an hour.
That's all it took?
Yes.
Because if you look under the eyes, that's a marked improvement under the eyes, specifically and around the cheek area. It actually gives her face a completely different shape.
Yeah.
It's really very
more
stunning.
defined.
Yes,
More defined,
much
more
more
youthful
defined.
for her. And so this is something that, again, we can do in, one time. So people say, I don't want to keep coming back. I want to have a look as if I've had, rejuvenation, whether my friends are guessing it's a facelift or maybe I just came back from vacation, but I don't want to go under the knife. What can you do for me in one sitting?
And that's all done without any anesthesia or
Correct.
anything. So it's so much safer for people
Our
that don't
anesthesia
want.
for that is what's in the filler itself.
Which is like a lidocaine?
Like a lidocaine ice that we put into a balloon that they hold onto their skin, and talk anesthesia, basically just talking people through it.
Wow, that's great. Great
Next
result.
pictures. So this is the lips that we've gone after. And so building up her lip, and this is something that she liked, a fuller lip, and this is not within one injection. This is actually around 6 months apart, or 6 months to a year apart?
A year total, yeah.
A year total. So just going after and building up, and this is filling in 3 different settings for her, and this is Juvederm and Volbella into the lips for her.
But I love the lip line that you've created. It's very beautiful, very natural, but it's sexy looking.
And that's why we actually ended up, like Dr. Berkowitz just said, we did use Volbella and Juvederm for her. So we placed in the lip line Volbella to kind of make it more defined.
She looks quite different, actually, just with the difference in the lips changed the contours of her face.
And she's a combination of both our work. So we both injected her at different times.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next picture. This again is somebody who had that Y lift, and so you can see a few different things. When you have the right amount of filler placed in, and I actually made sure on this one to show you after without makeup as well, since she was out without makeup beforehand.
Right.
You can actually see a change in her neck as well. So the
Yes.
fullness underneath her neck, underneath the chin, has improved, and that's because of the filler placed up above, helping the tightening along the jawline for her. And
Really
so,
good.
Yeah.
That's a good result. She must have been happy.
And she was thrilled. And so you can see how the filler is basically used from the temple area on down to lift for her with a very
She's
natural
got a
look.
much better cheek line. Their cheeks look better.
She has a chin too. We also built up
Yes.
her chin that she didn't have beforehand.
And that's with
Built up
fillers?
This is all filler. This is all filler, no
you
resurfacing.
did not do any kind of an implant?
No implant.
Great.
Yeah. So with fillers, we can, give the look of an implant or just a natural chin. Next picture. That's all.
That's the last picture. But basically, you can see how much can be done without going under the knife that still gives the appearance of having a facelift. It's like a non-surgical facelift.
So, listen, I love performing facelifts. I love going to the operating room, but it's not for everyone for several reasons. People don't have the downtime. People are fearful of going to an operating room. People want results today.
And people don't want to spend the money because the
Right.
difference between $4,000 for a kid and a full facelift is considerable. Big difference.
So we have options for people that we didn't have a decade ago. And the options just keep getting better with all the different fillers that are out there, and the fillers get better, and they end up being priced better too. When you have things like Versa coming up, that's a more affordable filler, that we can work with people to, give them options where they're not just saying, I can only afford one syringe. And the problem when somebody comes in with one syringe is, yes, Silvia and I can place one syringe for them, but one syringe is 1/5 of a teaspoon of volume.
It's a very small amount.
And so, maybe in somebody's lips you'd see a difference from one syringe, but if you take one syringe and place it throughout the entire face, they would then look and they may not see a difference. And, even though they say, no, I just want to build up over time, it's hard to make somebody happy when they look in the mirror and
they barely see the difference.
They barely see a difference.
And when you build it up gradually, the first amount that you put in starts to evaporate as you're adding more. So you're never really achieving, by building up, you're not getting the full result because some of the first injections have already started to go away, correct?
Right. So with package pricing, and then we can offer 0% financing so that people can afford to do a bit more so that they can see a difference, get ready for that wedding, that bar mitzvah.
But take time. Don't do it the day before.
No.
No, please.
Never do it the day before your event.
Or a vacation.
Give
next
yourself
travel
time
next day.
to heal
Yes.
because it does take a little bit of downtime. And if you think the day before you're going to go in and get all these injections and look beautiful the next day, you'll be sorry. So give yourself time. The great thing is you have more than one location, so no matter where you live, east side, west side, there's a place to go to.
You don't have to be fearful about crossing Woodward, but people are. So we're on both sides of Woodward. So you can see us in West Bloomfield in our lovely boutique office right across from Tappers, or right by some of the greatest shopping by Lakeside.
I know. That's the kind of the Mercedes or Bentley office, I think, because it's got everything there. You actually do all your procedures, the major procedures there, correct?
So we have 2 certified operating rooms in the Sterling Heights office. I have a board certified anesthesiologist for your comfort and safety. We always have the highest ratings from both patients as well as the public review systems that come about to make sure of our safety standards.
And also I think that in both places you offer the hydrofacials that you do, which are wonderful. Love hydrofacials, I'm addicted now. And also the fact that you do skin analysis and you sell all these wonderful products. So either way, whether they just want products, whether they want injectables, or whether they want to go the full route, this is the place to go. We'll be back in 2 minutes, and we're going to tell you about some celebrities, and we'll try to guess what they've had done or not done. And we'll see if your eye's as sharp as ours when it comes to celebrities. We'll be right back.
And action. And millions of ducks. The 2 guys go to newradiomedia.com.
The Arts and Entertainment Channel on New Radio Media .com.
What's going on in your neighborhood?
They say it takes a village.
It's the simple things.
The things that are a testament to the old.
And the things that are a testament to the new.
Know what's going on in your community.
Check out our community channel on newradiomedia.com.
It's all about you, and that's the way we like it.
Where you're going.
What you do to stay fit.
What you're eating.
What you're thinking.
And how you're feeling. Join the conversation at newradiomedia.com's Lifestyles channel.
Stream the life you want to live.
Okay, so are you ready to take a look at some of our favorite celebrities and see what they've done? Let's face it, they all do something. There's not anybody in Hollywood that I've seen that hasn't done something. So if you want to look like you're from Hollywood, and you want to get that movie star look, get it done. Josh is with us. He's our little expert, and tell us who we're going to see and what you think they've had done.
So first we have Bruce Willis and Demi Moore. We can take a look at their before photos.
And this was by my request, because on an earlier episode, we looked at Ashton Kutcher and his wife, Mila
Kunis. Yes.
Who happens to be married to her second ex, because after Bruce, she married Ashton, and Ashton dumped her for Mila. Such a sordid
The mess.
mess, yeah. So what do we think there? Let's take a look at.
So this was in, the early 90s. They both look great. They really look good, I think, here. When we take a look at their after photos, we can kind of take a look and we can kind of see what they may or may not have done over the years. So let's take a look at the next photo. So here they are more recently.
Is that their daughter in the middle?
This is their daughter in the
Right.
middle. So, Doc, weigh in a little bit. What do you think here?
So, first of all, being a fan of her show Friends beforehand, when I looked at her before picture, I think that she actually had filler in that picture, but filler placed poorly. She had a lot of fullness along the jawline.
Okay.
And at one point, when doctors were first getting filler, they were placing way too much everywhere, and I think that's what we were looking at. So I believe she had filler in that pre-picture.
Okay.
Now, in this picture, she looks very pretty.
She doesn't have a line on her face.
No, not at all.
So, the fact that she doesn't have a line, so I think Botox is being used properly for her. I think if you now look at how her face thinned out, I don't think it's just weight loss. I think that she or the injector that she had beforehand realized that that filler did not look good. It's disappeared. Her cheeks here have a little bit of filler. In this picture, I don't think she has any filler in her lips.
No,
she would
doesn't
do
look
well
like
to
that.
have some filler in her lips, but I don't think she has any. Bruce, rugged guy. He definitely didn't have a hair transplant.
Well, we know that. He hasn't had
But
anything.
I like it. He's embracing his age.
Yeah.
He's not fighting it.
I'm not seeing anything that I would call cosmetic for him.
So you think he's done nothing? What about Botox? Doesn't his forehead look pretty smooth?
You know what? If he had Botox, it was just a touch. It wasn't the full amount that you would need. And with his smile, you can see some of the crow's feet that are there, but not all of them. So maybe he had a touch, but...
Because he's got to be in his 50s, right?
I think even older than that.
So, I mean, I think he looks like he's maybe had a drop around the eyes and his forehead because there's no lines.
Now everyone's fair game here. So their daughter, I think, had her nose done. Just looking at her nostrils.
Okay.
And I prefer not to see the nostrils. And so when I see the nostrils that way, I don't think it's just the way her face is cocked. I think this is a rhinoplasty. The nose is too straight as well. And Demi, I would have to take a look at her before picture, but her nose looks fairly straight too, so she's probably had a rhinoplasty as well. So sorry that the daughter's there, but
I mean, if we're going to take a shot, we got to take a shot at every generation.
Yeah. But a lovely girl.
No, she's a beautiful girl. Her
So-
daughter looks good.
Up next, we have Donatella Versace. If we want to take a look at her
Oh my
photos.
gosh.
So we spoke about the bartender.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
help
here's the
this
thing.
lady, please. Somebody help this woman.
When we take a look at her photos from 1993, 1997, 2002 even, we don't really see a whole lot being done. And it really...
come on,
she
wait a
has,
second.
but when we take a
Even
look...
back in their
but look
early
from
pictures.
2005 to 2011, I mean, look at that drastic difference compared to now. I mean...
Do you know who, what's her name? Wildenstein? They call her the cat lady in New York.
Yes.
And that's what she's starting to look like.
Yes.
That is a very
It's alien.
awful look.
Yes.
That is, I feel bad for her, but she looks like a victim of some sort of an accident.
So it's unfortunate. Again, we spoke about playing bartender.
Oh my goodness.
So, did the same doctor inject her? Were there multiple doctors involved?
Well, it's a 20-year span.
Yeah.
So you have to assume that it's different doctors.
Yeah.
But everything her nose might be the only thing that hasn't changed very much, but those lips and the way her face is so shiny, and it just looks horrible.
So, you know, as far as the lips are concerned, she probably had silicone placed at some point and trying to hold that fullness that's there, and then it ends up looking just lumpy over time for
Well, you
her.
can see the lumps visibly.
Yeah. And then,
Poor
you know,
thing.
kept adding filler as well, and whoever, you know, was working on her skin, she probably had resurfacing, and it looks as if the resurfacing was overdone, where almost she was scarred and pulled
That's what I
back.
mean, she's a burn victim.
If you look at her ear,
earlobe.
right, her ear is pulled. She's pulled too
You can
tight.
see the line right there from her facelift.
So it's that windswept look.
Oh my goodness.
That you want to avoid at all costs. Now, you know, looking at can it be improved? So there are things that can be done to help her, but it would
like
have to
no more procedures, perhaps.
Right, but her skin. So we spoke about the Almi procedure. The Almi procedure gives you back the initial collagen, and so if there's anything that's to be done, it's to get back some of that youthful collagen for her without.
I hate to leave everybody on that picture, because that is not Dr. Berkowitz's work. And Donatella, sweetheart, if you're watching, call Dr. Berkowitz. Maybe he can help you, because you need it, sweetheart. And his patients look nothing like that. We'll be back next week with more information, more of your questions and answers. And I promise you, if you go to Dr. Berkowitz, you will never look like that. We'll be back next week.